Hi, I'm Julia Johnson, and on this NoviChi Spotlight, we're going to be talking about the small intestine. Um, a few weeks ago, I did a little bit of emotional release, and I did a video around the recalibration of the small intestine and how that all works. Well, the small intestine is also a fire organ. It's actually the yang, and the heart is the yin. And this particular organ is, of course, tubular and very interesting in that it lies in the center of our body, and it is responsible to receive nutrition from the food that we eat and the supplements that we take. And so this is quite an organ, and it has a huge responsibility in sorting through the good and the not so good, and taking in what we need and leaving the rest for waste. And it's an amazing part. The interesting thing on an emotional side of the small intestine is that it governs our ability to think clearly. So you can see that it's constantly making these decisions about what to keep and what to discard. But it's also that way on an emotional level. So if we feel chaotic and we feel confused and we feel misaligned with what it is that we're doing, it will affect our small intestine. It will affect our digestive process. And so the idea then is to get out of that state of confusion by weighing it out, having our spiritual witness, or in the case of NoviChi, using the small intestine confusion and chaos protocol, and then recalibrating our body with the small intestine protocol. So I just am excited to share with you that the small intestine is just like the heart in that it is the tubular, it is the transport organ for the heart, and it is an amazing fire energy. If our brain isn't functioning well, then oftentimes we need to support our small intestine, because like I said on the heart protocol spotlight, is that our fire supports our brain function, and the small intestine is part of that fire. So on page 1, it's a small intestinal line frequency, and we want to make sure that our small intestine is definitely in place and in optimal position in our body. I know of people who have had surgery and they've taken out part of their small intestine, they've laid their small intestine on their body while they fix something, and when they try to get it back in their body, it just is never in the right place. And so this alignment frequency is to help your small intestine to move into its optimal position and to nest in your abdomen and feel at home if there's been any disruption. On page 2, it is the breakup. And so now what we're doing is we're asking the body to break up the toxins that are connected or attached to the small intestine. And then in the next frequency on page 3, we're asking the inflammation that the toxins caused to heal. So when you think about inflammation, think about looking down somebody's throat and seeing a sore throat. You see that red and you see that pussy stuff. Well, that's inflammation. And if your intestines look like that, then you want that to heal. You want whatever's attached to it, whatever infection, whatever toxins are attached to it, to be healed. And then you want the inflammation to heal as well. On page 4 is the small intestine detox frequency, and this is asking the body to flush the toxins and the inflammation out through the proper channels. Page 5 is again the reflexology and small intestine. There's quite a bit of area on the bottom of the foot for the small intestine. So what I recommend is that you just feel your way into a tender spot, and that will give you the feeling of tenderness will give you the idea of where the inflammation is in your small intestine that needs to be healed. It will also help to ask the brain and the body to function in its, and that's the whole point, is that when we use reflexology, it's always a command for function. We want that part of our body to join with the nervous system in healing and function. On page 6, again, we have the control cycle, which is the kidney meridian activation. On page 7, we have the nurturing cycle, which again is the liver meridian resonant and activation. And then on page 8, again, it's chakra 4. So you can see some repeats from the fire of the heart. This is your heart's buddy. This is the yang to your heart's yin. And they're both fire. And then again on page 9, we have the integration of the small intestine support protocol. We want it to hold, and we want the body to get this message of healing through these frequencies. And so that's the purpose of this particular frequency and point placement. And then on page 10, we have the neural balance in case there's some pain. You can use this frequency on wherever the pain is, and through the living matrix in the connective tissue, it will help to release the pain in your body. Okay, so that is the small intestine spotlight. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next protocol. Thanks again. This is Julia Johnson.